What's up, guys? Welcome to One Shot, the podcast where we talk things FPS as well as gaming news in general. It's your boy CM Boom, and with me, as always, I have the amazing Mike Shaky. How you doing today, Mike?
Doing swell. Ready to get into things and talk about some great games that have come out in the last, what's today, the 24th? The month.
Yes, the month, and I mean the first thing. Well, we're back. Kind of. We this is technically the third episode of One Shot. We did a couple episodes a couple months ago, and then a bunch of crazy stuff happened. I had a big move, you had a big move, and then the
Yep.
holidays happened. So, but we're back. We're back,
Yeah.
and we're doing the show again. And I'm excited. Like you said, we're gonna get into some great games that have come out over the past month. Addressing the elephant in the room, Marvel Rivals.
I feel like everyone should have known that one because if
Yeah.
if you if you're a gamer, you know
If you're a
the
gamer,
Rivals is out and that's the game right now.
that is the game right now, and as the title of this episode's gonna be it's Marvel Rivals is awesome. That's my first overall opinion. Marvel Rivals is awesome. Oh
Short,
man.
sweet, and to the point.
Oh,
That's
a
how we like it
hundred
here.
percent. Marvel Rivals. It came out in it was what December 6th, I believe. Well, yes, December
Correct.
6th
Yeah.
was the launch, and good lord, did the game explode in popularity.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, took the not only the FPS world by storm, but it's not even an FPS technically. It's a third person shooter, but it's the gaming world by storm with it saw 20 million players at launch, which is yes confirmed because they made a spray for it in game, and yeah, I'm rocking that 20 million players spray. But I mean when it launched, what I was like, oh man, I got to get on this.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have that spray, but I've not played with like the emotes and sprays
Yeah.
and like that, so I have no idea.
But like I kind of loosely followed Rivals. Like when it, like I remember seeing the trailer for it. I was like, oh man, dude, that looks really really sick. I did try to get into like the closed beta, but I never did. But then when it was like, hey, we're getting close to launch, I was like, okay, I gotta get on. And as soon as I got on, I was hooked. I don't know how you.
Me personally, I saw the beta and everything, and I was like, "Oh, it's just a Overwatch clone." Like, I was, as much as I am a Overwatch hater nowadays, since
Mm-hmm,
Overwatch 2's been released. Well, really, since they added like role queue and that type of stuff.
mm-hmm.
But I thought it was just an Overwatch clone that was like just trying to like bring players in purely because of the Marvel IP.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, it's gonna be good, but it's not gonna like it's gonna be like some games that have come and gone, basically, is
Right.
what my thought was.
Yeah,
But statistic wise, I've been proven wrong.
I think everybody has been proven wrong statistic wise because I mean yeah, and it at its core it is essentially an Overwatch clone, and that's not to say like oh it's just an Overwatch clone because it's a hero shooter. It's a hero shooter, and a lot of hero shooters kind of follow the same type of um,
Algorithm.
algorithm formula, and I don't think that's necessarily bad. I don't think it's bad because it's like it laid the groundwork for the game. It's like yeah, it's like the game modes and the way like the game just plays and interacts. Like yes, the hero shooter, it's understandable. So, but yeah, I mean, to do the numbers that it has done is kind of crazy. And I mean, we can take a look at like we said at launch, it saw 20 million players. And then with the launch of season one, which was just a few weeks ago, Marvel Rivals peaked at 644,269 players, which was, I mean, that's 14 days ago, I believe, to the day. Um, and at that
Yes.
time, I think that weekend it became the number one played game on Steam, surpassing Counter Strike, which is insane for people that know like Counter Strike and shooters like that. That's insane for the game to surpass Counter Strike for at least a weekend. I mean, Counter Strike's back to like 1.7 million concurrent players, but that was crazy for that weekend.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it. It's lifetime. So from its release date on December 6th to current day when we were recording on the 24th, the lowest player count it's had is 300,000. And that was on Christmas Day.
That's crazy.
Otherwise, it has been very straight with a few peaks, very few valleys in this game.
Very few values. I mean, and you can see right here on the web page, it's showing for the 24-hour peak is 418,000 players. You got currently 264,000 in game. I mean, like crazy, right? But considering that like Overwatch right now is like 20,000 players. And it's Marvel's direct competition is
Yeah.
Overwatch. And it's just like I every time I try to think about it, I'm just stunned, absolutely stunned, because we talk about and we've experienced just because we're mainly our games are Call of Duty, X Defiant, RIP, but for a game to just come on the scene like this and just pull players seemingly from every single game,
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like rumblings of Overwatch 1 back in 2016. When that game launched, everybody was playing it. I played it. I played it on console. Everyone was playing it. Like everybody's playing Marvel Rivals. Everyone's playing. It's
If
kind
I
of
recall, it's been just shy of 10 years since Overwatch's first release.
Yeah, I believe
But
it.
Overwatch didn't have as big as a like earthquake, if you want to call it that, effect on the gaming scene. I feel like because I feel like 2016 was kind of like, I don't want to say peak gaming, but like peak gaming. It had, I want to say it was Black Ops 3, if I remember correctly.
Mm,
It had a very
it
good
was
Call
yes,
of Duty for the
it was the
time.
year of Black Ops 3 because Black Ops 3 had released in the fall of 2015, so it was that year of Black Ops
Yeah.
3, and then I think the game that preceded it was Infinite Warfare, which came
Yeah.
out
So
late
it
2016.
had it had a good Call of Duty it was going up against. Like there were other games, I forget all
Titanfall
the games that
2,
were,
Rainbow
yeah,
Six
like it had a
Siege.
lot of competition
Mhm.
compared to nowadays because I feel like COVID, as much as I hate COVID,
We all do.
kind of killed the gaming scene for a while, and I feel like it's now just starting to get
I
revived.
think yeah, because we saw a lot of delays. I think what it did, which I mean, talking about COVID to kind of sidetrack, it did help Warzone, which is again another uh, podcast for another day, the Warzone and the downfall of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like in back then too, Overwatch wasn't free. It was a
Yeah.
$60 purchase,
$60 game. Yep.
which it still did well, and I mean, it did win Game of the Year for that year. And I mean, it definitely pushed the industry forward. I think a little bit because it introduced popularized the loot box system, which
Yeah.
we saw for years and years afterwards. But
Which then they got rid of,
right, yeah,
which was making them microtransaction money.
yeah, which is
People liked it.
yeah, and I mean, and
And,
that. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
and I was going to say they turned a $60 game into a free model that has characters stuck behind a paywall or like some type of like wall, basically, like do X challenge to get.
Right.
And I feel like coming from a person that played the original and paid that $60, at least give me the characters
Right.
that come with Overwatch 2 at launch.
Right.
I don't want to grind out those characters when I've
Right.
already paid for your game.
And that does bring us into our next topic of, I mean, Marvel Rivals is a free to play model, and it had 33 characters at launch that were all playable. They're all playable, and even the two new characters that just came out, Reed Richards and Invisible Woman, playable. As soon as the season launches,
Yeah.
you don't have to do a challenge. You don't have to pay for them. You can just load up the game, experience them for yourselves, and play. It's like playable characters at launch, which, like you said, you're paying. Which I mean, now I mean, Overwatch 2 is a free to play model, but you still have to unlock characters. Other games have done that too. I mean, X Defiant did it where they released new characters and you had to get like 70,000 XP to
Mm-hmm.
unlock them or pay. I know I paid because I was like, I don't want to spend, it would have been like weeks playing the game to just unlock new characters day one at launch. Valorant does a similar thing too, where it's like you kind of got to unlock the
Yeah.
agent. Um,
Well, that
my
one it's more you do a I forget what exactly they call it, but it's like a challenge, and then you have to grind out 5 levels of the 10 levels
yeah,
for that character.
it's
But
like
then you
the
also like look at League of Legends, and you have to grind out. I don't even know what their currency is. I want
yeah.
to say gems,
Yeah,
gold.
I
You
don't
have
know.
to do, you have to do that to grind it out. But they have a constant cycle of like free characters.
Right,
So they may have 1 million characters one day,
right,
but 100 of them are recycled through
yeah,
once a month or so.
yeah. And League of Legends, I think, a totally different animal
Yeah, yeah.
because it's
I
like,
just it's
but
the
it's yes,
same
comparable.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Marvel Rivals is free to play model with the non-expiring battle passes, which is really cool to
Hmm.
see. I
Yeah,
love that.
really exciting.
Yeah, it's Halo Infinite did that, which ain't Halo is not in a perfect
Halo's
state.
always in Halo has so many great peaks, but it has very more valleys than it
Yeah,
does peaks.
yeah. But in I mean they're working on stuff over there, and again that's probably for a future episode. But again, talking about the microtransactions, a really good shop system, and launching with all of these skins as well, because like you said earlier, it's Marvel. It's one of the largest IPs, and you have not only original costume designs, but you've got the MCU costumes to put on a lot of these characters, and a shop system that's not predatory, the ability to earn
Free
currency,
skins.
yeah, free skins, and you can even earn the currencies to purchase premium skins. Like I think I'm like
Hmm.
600 credits off of being able to buy a premium skin, which is like, and I've just played the game. Like I haven't bought anything
Yeah.
yet, which is so cool to see.
I bought the season 1 battle pass and I did the math. I'm not quite through even halfway through the battle pass already, but I did the math and I'll have 100 coins short of being able to just buy the next battle pass.
Which is awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. And
Which is I think was a problem in X Defiant
maybe.
was I bought the I forget what the pack was called, but one of like the founder packs or
Oh yeah.
whatever they had called it,
Oh yeah.
and it gave you the battle pass, but the battle pass was just recycled
Yeah.
each time I could recycle it.
Yeah. Um,
So they lost on a lot of microtransaction
right.
there.
I mean, that game lost out on a lot
But
of
it's also yeah, it didn't do as good as people thought it was going
right.
to do.
But in events, I talking more about like free skins. Marvel Rivals has since launch uh had two events. We had the winter event in which I think came like 2 weeks after launch, and now we have
Yeah, which
the
gave you the Jeff skin.
Jeff skin. Now you have the spring event, which is they basically added Rocket League or Lucio Ball from Overwatch,
Yep,
and you can get
yep.
the free Star Lord skin. Uh, I love everything that this game is doing, and
Well, and
it's
there's the comic book challenge too that you get the free Thor skin at the
yeah,
end of too.
yeah. It's insane the amount of free, and they have Twitch reward drops where you can earn free skins by just
Yes.
watching Twitch. They had I know there's a few console exclusives, like I believe if you're on
A
PlayStation, you
Spider-Man
can get
one
the Scarlet
I know
Spider.
of.
Um and there's a couple other, they had, I mean, beta tester skins. You could get the classic Venom, which was really cool, like the really bright blue one. But yeah, I mean, I just I love when a game comes out and it's like I feel like free to play is something that the industry is trying to push more and more of. Um, and not every game does it well. For example, Call of Duty, Warzone, not a great, fantastic free to play model. It does convert a lot of purchases of the full game, but that's because their free to play model is a little predatory and it's very much so pay to win.
Yeah.
But then you have games like Marvel Rival and Fortnite that have a really, really, really good free to play model. Apex when it first launched, but like I love the free to play model, and I think more and more games and companies should switch to that model because when it's done well, it provides a really good player experience, and it makes me want to spend money on the game. Like I want to
See,
spend
I
money.
kind of disagree with you there.
Really?
Free to play model, love it as a consumer. But uh the companies that create those games, they're not going to see it as a good investment because they make a lot of their money on the game sales. Those microtransactions, if you release a full free game, call it Marvel Rivals for instance, you're relying on people buying stuff to get your money back that you spent creating that game. Which yes, Marvel Rivals has like an established IP, but like say a game that doesn't have an established IP, XDefiant technically did,
Yeah,
huh?
it did.
Um, I don't know. There's like COD. COD is an established IP now after 20 years in the industry,
Right.
but like it's releasing like Nicki Minaj and like Snoop Dogg skins and stuff just to get more microtransactions rather than like making just like cool dope skins.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think that's also Activision just being tone deaf to their player base and
Well, yeah,
wanting more
that
money.
too.
But
There's a lot of companies that are tone deaf
yeah,
nowadays.
I think like kind of what
Disney
you said.
Disney themselves being one.
I mean, that which is first of all crazy because it's like to have something with Marvel being like because of the state of the MCU. I was a big MCU
Yeah.
fan. Like I watched from Iron Man all the way up through Endgame. Like grew up on those movies, and it does kind of suck to see some of the states of those movies now. But for this game to come out and be like, holy crap! Like reigniting the interest in
Yeah.
Marvel with like you said, Disney being a little tone deaf. It's amazing and shocking at the same time. But and I think that I think okay, more or less, maybe not so much that the industry's pushing towards a free to play model. I think I prefer or when a well done free to play model comes out, like Marvel or like when the way Fortnite does it, I think it's more beneficial versus
Yes. To the
like
to the
a
yeah,
60
to the
$70
developers, yes.
premium game that Call of Duty's been offering us over the past
Yeah.
however many
Well,
years.
they've upped their price over the last call it what, 7 years?
Yeah.
Because it used to be a $60
70
game
bucks now,
with
man.
very limited microtransactions,
Yeah.
but now the whole gaming industry is kind of leaning to
Yeah.
microtransactions. But so they bumped their price and their microtransactions.
Which
So it's just like why?
microtransactions aren't bad if
No,
the
no.
game is worth like if the game is built well and like you enjoy it. Again, like with Marvel Rivals, I didn't have to pay for the game, which even if I did have to pay for the game, like even though I did pay $70, this game would 100% be worth a $70 purchase. This is definitely I feel like a premium product because there's like well thought out like it's well thought out, it's well built, it's got a fantastic rank system with it needs a little tweaks, but like at launch, fantastic rank system. Listen, our problem's more with the players, not the actual rank systems
Well,
themselves.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Right before the podcast started, you were saying that there was problems with like hackers and cheaters and stuff
in
in
COD,
ranked.
in COD,
Yeah.
yes, which
Yeah.
is
So like you can't say it's a premium product if it doesn't even have an anti-cheat and their player base has been crying for an anti for
well, I'm talking about
the better part of 5 years.
yeah, I'm talking about. I feel like Marvel Rivals is a premium product, and
Oh yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
paid $70 for Marvel Rivals because I feel like it
Oh
was good
yeah.
and
Yeah.
it has a good ranking system and it has a fantastic like model at launch. Yeah, Call of Duty, no, that thing's trash. Like, not worth $70 at all. That doesn't have a working anti cheat. Marvel Rivals, 100%. Like if it was $70, I would have forked over the $70 to play that game. Like
Yeah.
1,000%. But I
Not to
love.
get too far off topic because I know we're going to touch on this a little later, but like every game is not necessarily getting poached, but like all their player base is going to rivals.
I mean, yeah, it's
And it's not killing games, but is severely hindering games.
severely. I mean, we
And
can.
especially when there's games out there that don't listen to their player base. Activision.
Oh man,
Sorry.
you sound like you're a
Um
little sick there, huh? A little
yeah,
sick.
yeah, yeah, just a
It's that
little bit.
winter cold, right?
Yeah. They don't listen to their player base. They're gonna lose fans when a game comes around that is one better or equal quality and has those, and then also has those things that the player base wants.
Yeah,
Anti cheat.
yeah, and we can kind of talk about that with a big purveyor of players leaving other games is all the content creators, the big content creators, hopping off other games. I mean, the big ones being, at least in the Call of Duty space, Tim the Tatman,
Yep.
Nadeshot. I mean, Scump and Formal were playing it. I'm trying to think. Octane, I believe, is playing it as well.
Mm-hmm.
At least for a little. And that's like, that's
Can you guys tell
insane.
that we come from the COD community
Yeah.
originally? Like, can you guys tell?
Yeah. I mean, what, should I start showing the amount of controllers I have?
No, 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 no. We don't need all
We
that. We
don't
don't
need
need all that.
the lot of money of control. But yeah, we do come from the Call of Duty community. If you do watch the other two episodes, which will be linked in the description, and you can find them on the channel, we do come from the Call of Duty community, and that's why you'll hear a lot of COD talk, and it's a huge deal when a lot of these creators are jumping from Black Ops 6 to Marvel Rivals and seemingly staying there. Like, I don't think
Mm-hmm.
like Nadeshot hasn't streamed COD in a month. Tim hasn't streamed COD in a month.
But Tim originally came from Overwatch and then moved to COD.
Yeah.
So he's originally a hero
Overwatch
shooter type
and
guy.
CS. He was like, I
Yeah.
found out that he was almost a CS pro, which is crazy. But even still, like, he, like, all these content creators that have been synonymous with Call of Duty and other games that are flocking to Marvel Rivals and playing it and loving it. It's insane. And I mean, there's a little bit, some creators are actually divided on Marvel Rivals. I mean, like Jinxie's a big one. He said that no one will be playing Marvel Rivals within a year. He said the game was too much brain rot for him. And then
That man has brain rot. That man
yeah,
has brain
he
rot.
plays Rainbow Six.
He's a great streamer. He plays Rainbow Six.
Yeah, I do have a little
And
bit of Rainbow
and
Six
every
Origins.
time I tune into his stream, he's crashing out about like something random.
Oh
Like,
man,
that is the hottest hot take I've ever heard.
that is a
someone
very
say.
hot take. And
Marvel Rivals said they were releasing 2 new characters every month and a half.
yeah, every 45 days.
Marvel has a bajillion characters.
Yep.
They are not going to run out
Yep.
of characters anytime soon.
And Tim the Tatman was quoted saying that. He said, "It's Marvel. It's one of the largest IPs ever. They have so many characters in like that they could pull from. It's gonna be like this game will survive. I'm hoping, and it looks that way, that this game can survive for the next 10 years. And
Yeah,
honestly,
for sure.
honestly, like I don't know. I like COD Season 2 is launching in like I think 4 or 5 days. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to
I don't
COD.
think.
I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't think COD's going to get back their player base
I don't know.
unless there's an anti-cheat.
Like if they maybe redo the ranking system and like make it so I actually can play Search and Destroy and not play cheaters, we might play. But again, I have way more fun on Rivals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tim. Again, I'm gonna reference Tim a lot because he said on his stream, he's like, "Is this what it feels like to play a game where the developers care and want to see the game actually succeed?"
Yeah.
Because we've been playing COD for the last few years and they haven't cared. It's very apparent that they have not cared, at least for the competitive side of things.
That's the only thing. Jinxie's thing will only come true if the developers, one, get too money hungry and just start making stupid microtransactions people don't like, or two, they let the game just fall apart and die.
And I don't foresee that happening because they have very clearly like made like they've been very transparent with the community, which is again awesome to see. And like as far as going saying like, because I know a lot of people that you talked about a role queue in Overwatch 2, they added that, and a lot of people at the beginning of the game were clamoring for a role queue, and the developers were like, no, we're not doing a role queue.
No.
Learn to play other characters, which is like so good to see because like yeah, that's true. Like learn to play other characters. I know
it kind of sucks in comp, but like role queue, I think is part of the reason why Overwatch died.
Yeah, because then it's like, and I'm a little guilty of one tricking sometimes. I'm gonna admit it. I'm still stuck in Silver 2. I'm practicing. I'm getting better, but there are times I go like, okay, hold on. I'm not gonna play DPS this time. I'm gonna play a tank or I'll play a healer. Like I'm learning other characters. That way, it's like because I think I literally had a match the other day where it's like I started as DPS. Wasn't going well. I switched to tank. Someone else took DPS, and we ended up winning. It's like, okay, Like, and that's so satisfying. Like, I don't care that, oh man, I don't get to play my favorite main that's a DPS. It's like I had to play a tank. I don't care about that because I won. I care more about winning in ranked than I
Yeah.
do I didn't get to play DPS. And so
Well,
that's
you also
awesome.
have like one tricks that are like Wolverines or Spider-Mans, and they'll like drop 0 kills, be hard countered by the other team, just won't switch. But like
Yeah.
you're not going to change the player base. They're going
Right.
to play what they want to play.
Right.
Like if you're hard stuck, you're going to be hard stuck
Yeah.
for a while.
And eventually, because we are players that I like to research, learn, practice, we will eventually get out of those ranks. A big prayer that would be playing with
Well,
other
I mean,
people.
you kind of have to hard carry.
You do have to kind
It's
of
a
hard
little
carry.
it is a little hard to hard carry in a six-man
Yeah.
game.
I would
But
I would like to see for ranked them maybe add like placement matches in the future, just because like
yeah,
maybe that way I can start a little higher. Like maybe instead of starting at bronze, I can start in gold. Just saying. Like
I don't know. I think that COD has a good like rank system and that everyone starts in bronze and you get more XP or RP, whatever the
mm,
fuck it's called, because called something
yeah, it's
slightly
different.
different in each game.
SR,
But like
RP,
you get
XP.
more in the lower ranks and you lose less in the lower ranks, and then it's just low and low and low once
Yeah.
you get to the higher ranks.
I wouldn't mind that. Like yeah, that's good. I also
Because then
do.
the people that know how to play the game can climb a little
Yeah,
faster and get out of those
yeah,
shitty ranks.
yeah. But yeah, yeah. I would like to see that. And but I mean, as far as like right now, I'm still enjoying it. I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
I
I
do.
still have fun losing,
Yeah.
but like
Well, I don't
there's
know
there's
if I fun
times that I
losing.
crash out on my teammates
Oh
because
my gosh,
I
yeah.
have a 1 in 30
Oh
Wolverine
my
that
god.
didn't do anything.
I
Like,
I think I said multiple times on stream this week, I'm about to crash out, chat. I'm about to crash out.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm gonna crash out here.
I was in
And
some of those streams.
I I think there was literally one stream like I got off, I was fine, and then I just went into my bedroom, put a pillow on my face, and just screamed because
Oh no.
I'm like ah. And my wife's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine now. I'm fine now. I'm good." I had to let one out. I couldn't do it on stream.
Yep,
I don't want to
yep.
break anything. I'm good. I'm gonna go about my day. But it's like, cause like my brother-in-law, who's like, cause like I was just on an 8 game loss streak, and my wife was, well, I was at work yesterday. She was with her family hanging out, and she was talking to her little brother, and he's like, yeah, I'm on a 12 game loss streak. Uh, she's like, he's like, I'm so frustrated with it, but I love it. And she told me about that, and she's like, you two are the same. I'm like, yeah, we rage and we get angry, but we love the game because
Yeah.
she's like, what's the problem? Like, because the dopamine from winning one match outweighs the 8 game loss streak. You win one match and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, let's
Yeah.
keep going.
And then you just keep losing and then you get the dopamine and you
Yeah,
keep going.
it's just a cycle. It's a constant
But it's
cycle.
also the gamer mentality that you
Yeah,
can't end on a loss, you
no,
can't end on a win.
that is heinous. That they put the requeue button. It says one more round. It says what, like when you, it says, oh, one more round. It's like that is such a
Yeah.
heinous move, and I love it because it's like, yeah, one more round, one more round. It's not like, oh,
Yeah.
play again. It's one more round. It's like, gosh darn it, yes, one more round. I'm not going out in a
Yeah,
loss, and
yeah.
then you lose
Lock
34.
in. We got one more, boys.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean, speaking of too, like competitive, which I think because we ourselves consume a lot of competitive content. We watch the Call of Duty League. A lot of people are
a little
asking,
less nowadays,
a
but
little
hey.
less, but hey, but a lot of people when the game launched, because they do have those in-game tournaments, the Marvel Rivals Championship that you can sign up for their in-game, is Marvel Rivals potentially getting an esports league, and it was asked. I believe Marvel Rivals, the CEO of the game director. I'm not gonna try and pronounce that name. I will butcher it. I'm sorry, but I didn't even mention Marvel as director. Mentioned that the team strives to make the game balance for players just looking fun to play, but hopes that the competitive modes can grow and be enjoyed alongside more casual queues. He was quoted saying, "We really hope that when we do competitive modes or tournaments, they will coexist with our quick play." So I mean, we talk about And there's like a kind of, how do I say this? When you have a competitive game, right? Or if you want to do a game that's competitive, you almost want it to be synonymous. The transition from going to the casual playlist to the competitive playlist be smooth. And I think
Yeah.
games like Valorant do that really well. Valorant's
It's
rank
the same game.
is the exact same game.
Yeah.
Halo does it very well as well. It's similar in that
Isn't
like the
it? It's what a it goes from like a 5v5 to a 4v4.
no, it's 4v4 to 4v4. Halo is
Oh, it is.
yeah,
Okay.
so it's 4v4 to
COD's
4v4.
the only one that changes
Yeah,
then.
COD is the only one that changes. You go from 6v6 with practically the whole sandbox of weapons available to 4v4, two
Limited
weapons
game modes.
available, limited game
Yeah.
modes. I mean, I do prefer to play COD that way, but I love that they have stated that it's like, yes, we do want to do esports because they did not specify additional competitive esports plans. But they said they do have a baked, but I mean, they was quoted saying, "We have baked in tournament modes that supports Marvel Rivals Championship regional events and factions. Looks like the team will focus on proper game balance and listening to players' feedback to keep both sides of Marvel Rivals thriving." So there's already a regional in-game online tournament system for Marvel Rivals, but this game has, I think, massive potential to have a worldwide league.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's something I'm a little concerned about. Like, yes. So from what I've seen people talk about, and I agree and disagree with some of their takes, they're saying Marvel Rivals is going to be a game that's going to get to a point that there's so many characters that competitive may not be as viable as it could be because it's just overwhelming amount of characters, especially to like a new player. Even though you know the person,
Right.
like everyone knows Reed Richards,
Right.
but like if there's Reed Richards and then there's 20 plus, we'll call it, other like duelist, like it's gonna be a little overwhelming for a new person, which is fine.
To that
It's
I
just
say,
more to play.
yeah. To that I
But
say,
like,
League of Legends,
yeah,
which
um,
different styles of games, but League
yeah,
of Legends, and I've seen that take too, where it's like, yeah, people are like concerned, but League of Legends has a massive amount of characters,
mhm,
and it's one of the biggest esports. It's
yeah,
possible. It's 100%
yeah.
possible.
And I'd be concerned about this game franchising because yes, Overwatch died, a very similar game, but like franchising from what I have seen generally doesn't do that good.
Yeah.
It needs to, if it's going to be competitive, it needs to be like old school Call of Duty, MLG, UMG tournament, like kind of outside of the Marvel Rivals ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like they can't have control of everything.
Right.
There's
I think they could almost do it the way that Valorant did it, where Valorant started open, like it was an open
Mhm,
type of
mhm.
thing, but then they eventually did move to a franchise league. But the way Valorant did it, I believe, and I don't know too much about their competitive, but I believe they still have an AM scene, or they whatever they call it, their version of like
They
challenge.
do. So, from my understanding of Valorant, they have their pro scene, and then they have not an AM scene. Technically, it's a like it'd be like a AAA
Yeah.
equivalent
Right.
league, and then I think after that, it's just all basically just not free agents, but like actual like amateurs
Yeah.
and nobodies, basically.
And I
So they
believe
have a very minute pro player
right.
base.
And I believe, and some of the comments could correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Valorant's like AAA, like teams can earn franchise spots.
Yes,
So it's like
they
the
have to win.
franchise,
They have to win themselves in though.
which is a good, like if you want to do franchising, that's a good way to do it, where you're
Well, it's the
not
same
like
as league. League, you can get relegated out too.
yeah, where you can yeah, and that keeps orgs coming in. There's a barrier to entry that's accessible. Unlike again, I'm gonna reference Call of Duty. It's a 12-team league. The AM scene's non-existent because they're not willing to support challengers, and there's no way for people or teams to break in. we've had the CDL for since 2019. It's still a 12-team league. We haven't been able to nail down the same 12 teams in 6 years.
Yeah.
So, but I think, like I said, Marvel could be very, as long as they do the right approach to it, which I think these starting with these in-game tournaments is the right track.
Mm-hmm.
They could maybe not like this year or next year, but like in a couple of years start to go like, hey, if there's interest for this and people are willing to buy in, and the main thing is going to be if Disney wants that
Yeah.
because they are the sole owner of Marvel, which if they do it right and Disney is backing it with that type of money, it could be like a Valorant situation where it's like this game comes out and explodes and becomes one of the top esports.
Yeah, well, that's something you talked about CS and Valorant. That's something I don't like about their uh, pro competitive scenes is I never know when games are.
Yeah, yeah,
Hardly ever.
yeah.
If I turn into Twitch at the right time of day, I may catch a game.
Right.
Or if I'm following a certain team, I may catch one of their games. But it's like they have so many like different time zones that they base themselves off of because they had a Madrid event not too long, oh, pretty long ago now. And then they had like over in Korea or Japan or something like that. And then they had the US and like the European events.
Yeah.
But it's always the same handful of like pros,
Right.
pro teams.
Because you're watching
So
the
it's like
regionals.
if I'm I know Sentinels are part of them.
Yeah.
If I'm a Sentinels fan, I have to literally follow them on everything just so I can
Yeah.
try to keep up with what my team is doing,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
is a good model.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you don't have like your Asian viewers like trying to watch on the US time
Right.
zones
Yeah.
or like vice versa.
Yeah.
But like you gotta find some happy medium so everyone can watch because me staying up till 3 in the morning to watch my team play one match,
Yeah.
not viable
No.
long term.
No, definitely not long term, but yeah, I think and I think that's just sometimes the nature of esports with growing esports because
Yeah,
technically,
for sure it is.
esports
But
is still young. I mean, yeah, it's been around for 20 years, but when stuff like the NFL and the NBA have been around for darn near like in hundreds of years, like it's like it'll get figured out. But yeah, I agree with that. Like, yeah, that does because I can remember with the esports World Cup, Call of Duty went to the esports World Cup and they were playing in Saudi Arabia, and it's like you had to be up at like 4 a.m. for matches to
yeah.
start. And it's like I remember waking up at 8 a.m. and I caught the end of when I was trying to watch Optic play. They played like Cloud9. They beat them. It was like the last like map, which I mean I assume that can get figured out. And as time goes on, they'll
it's
figure
just
it
a
out.
time zone issue. It's not it's like you have to be able to cater to your whole audience. And since Marvel Rivals is a worldwide thing, you have to cater to
Everybody.
we're Americans, so you have to cater to people across the pond or whatever you want to say.
Right.
Like you can't just cater to one audience. And that's the problem with esports. No one has figured it out.
Yeah.
How to cater to everybody at a specific time.
I think what could be a really good way to do that is have the availability to see matches and watch matches in game. Like if you go to the Marvel Rivals Championship tab, either like you could have a schedule of like here's when the next game is, or the ability to view it through that tab, or like even just a link to the Twitch tab of being like, hey, this is when the next game is going on, and this is where you can watch it. And again,
well, that's something too in Valorant. Valorant has something very similar to that, but even coming from like a tournament knowledge ish person myself, looking at Valorant's like model was very kind of weird because they did like a round robin into a Swiss or no, it was a Swiss thing, and I have no idea what that means.
Right. And
so like, you gotta cater to everybody, keep it simple, have it in game, post it on social so your like hardcore fans can follow it. But if it's in game, you're more inclined to get people. Because Overwatch did that towards the end of its life cycle too.
And yeah, this is stuff too we're talking about that's like completely theoretical because
theoretical and very future
Yeah, the
based. But
theoretical,
yeah,
very future based, could happen. Not being like this is what they need to do if they want to be successful, because it's like the game's already very successful and it's looking like
yeah.
it's going to continue on that upward trend. But like when you get into the esports and the competitive side of it, there's certain avenues that you have to take so that certain people can be like, so you can just you can cater to, like you said, everybody and make it easily
Hmm.
accessible to everyone. Because and I caught, I think, the very last series of the last Marvel Rivals Championship, and let me tell you, dude, this game is so much fun to watch. It's so
I
much fun to
I
watch.
I know that it's happening, but I never know when it's
Yeah, I know.
happening.
No, I think I
And there's been two of them, so there
yeah
hasn't been a lot of opportunity for me to try to catch one.
right
But I know it's happening, but I don't know when it's
when it's
happening.
happening,
Is the problem?
right? And because I think they do it on their official Twitch page, and I'm sure as they go on there will be more accessibility. But
Hmm.
and like a big thing about esports is like the game have being fun to watch from a viewer standpoint, and they have done a very good job at being able to like the viewer experience is really nice. Simple things like when you're watching, the teams are different colors, so like you can identify which team is which, like in like almost like in Codcaster where they do like you
Hmm.
have one team highlighted like whatever their home team is and the other team's highlighted white, and it's like the all the icons are that specific team. You're not just going to each player's POV and it being their actual in-game POV. It's the caster, and you
Yep.
can tell like, oh,
You
this
have
is
to have
this team.
X-ray.
Yeah, yeah, this is this team, this is that team. Oh, this person's here. Oh, I can tell that this team is capping the point versus this team. It's not like, I think like X Defiant did a show match when they was very first announced, and it was like they literally just went
Hmm.
to each player's POV, and I'm like, I can't tell who is who, what's happening. But yeah, the game's fun to watch, good viewing experience, amazing cast of characters. Rank is fun to play. It definitely has, I think, an
Yeah.
esports experience, future and
Yeah. Well, that's
possibilities.
jumping back to my point about this game being competitive. I feel like it may get to a point, gentlemen agreements may come into place. Certain characters may not be played because, from what I understand, Hella Hawkeye in season 0 were like insta bans in comp.
Yeah. Well,
But if you get to a point where there's 100+ characters, you got to have something
yeah,
so that a new viewer can digest it.
right. And I
Because you
think
can't just have someone play 50 characters in one
right, right,
map.
right. I think that'll come with the developers paying very close attention, because I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, Hela and Hawkeye in season 0 were very overpowered. They have since been nerfed, and I feel like they were good nerfs, because I don't feel like I'm
Hmm.
seeing Hela and Hawkeye in every single match. Um, that'll come for the developer side. If the developers can do well enough, I don't think there will be a need for gentlemen's agreements, because
Hmm.
I honestly, some like GAs are necessary in some games, but I hate
Yeah.
them.
But they also kill games
Yeah,
too.
I
Yeah.
hate them, and I think a game like this, the developers will be good at balancing it enough to where we
Yeah.
won't need
Well,
gentlemen's
that's something
agreements.
too. It seems like all the characters are very strong, very well balanced game.
Yeah, I
And
love.
normally when a new person is added to a game, they're either really underpowered or they're really over, and like they feel pretty good, the new people.
I I
Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman.
I love that this game's idea of balance was, we'll just make everybody ridiculous so that way the game's balanced. Everybody
Yeah,
has a
which is
ridiculous
fine.
kit, and yeah, it's awesome because it's like everybody has this ridiculous potential to just be amazing, except for Black Widow, she sucks. But like everybody has this these amazing kits of just being like, yeah, this is nuts. Like Jeff, his ult being able to grab a whole team, then just jump off
Yeah.
the end. Iron Man's ult being again able to wipe a whole team. Like if you get, like everybody just feels so overpowered that nobody really is overpowered. So it's
Yeah.
like, I love it. It's amazing.
There is a point if you like deep dive into some people, like yes, like Rocket Raccoon, his ult isn't as valuable as like a Luna Stone or someone.
Right.
But like end of the day, he still has really good heals.
Right.
He can put out good damage. Like
And the
everyone is viable, but there
yeah.
are people that are slightly more valuable in certain
Yeah.
situations.
And that's, I think that creates a perfect balance. It's
Hmm.
what again, it makes it so you won't just have the same team comp. Overwatch
over and over again.
goats, you know.
Valorant has that same situation. Each map has a certain comp that is like standard.
Yeah, and I love it. It's great. It's healthy for the game. It's healthy for the player base, and healthy for a competitive environment. Um, last thing we really want to touch on here. Speaking of players, we talked about players being sucked away from other games, and we're gonna mention Call of Duty again. But in peak December, when this game launched, they lost 145,000 players. So this is an article published on January 6th. It says, according to Steam charts and The Gamer, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has lost a whopping 47% of its player base since its launch last October. In November 2024, Steam's Call of Duty launcher was averaging, and this is the Steam numbers, around 160,000 players over the last 30 days. However, the launcher has averaged about 87,000 players. In comparison, the also controversial Modern Warfare 3 averaged around 103,000 players during its peak in November 2023. Player counts eventually settled to 89,000, which peak December. COD losing 145,000 players, that's a problem.
And it's a matter of, I think COD went against its own formula in releasing the game and then ranked around Christmas to kind of re-up the people.
Yeah.
But I have not played Black Ops 6 because of what I've heard of it. And I've heard it is plagued with hackers. And I'm not going to subject myself to that. Nope. Why am I paying $70 to subject myself to a game that I cannot enjoy because I'm just getting... I know they don't have Spinbot, but like CSGO has Spinbot, and that's what I'm used to people hacking it. Yeah. But like, why am I subjecting myself to people that have aimbot in walls when I could like go play a different game?
Yeah. And I think, we talk about the COD cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is not normal. This is not normal for Call of Duty. No. Like, this year is not part of the COD cycle. Because peak December usually is when, like, COD
it's reaching peak numbers.
Up, like, ramping.
You get the Christmas noobs.
You get the Christmas noobs, and then, like, streamers are still hot on it, especially with rank dropping early. It's like, because usually we're not getting ranked till about Season 2, which would be right now. For the game to lose that amount of players this amount of time, and Marvel Rivals being a big proponent of it, this is not normal for COD. And honestly, I'm kind of happy about it because I am a Call of Duty fan. I will say that right up. Mm-hmm. I'm a Call of Duty fan. I've played since Black Ops 2. I love Call of Duty. I want COD to do well. That's why I complain about the game. COD hasn't had any direct competition for years now, because franchises like Halo, Battlefield, that used to be back in the day, they pushed Call of Duty to be better. Those franchises have died out, and there was no competition. So COD has become stagnant, and they've just been, like you said, releasing a $70 game every year with predatory microtransactions and issues. Finally, and I don't think anybody expected Marvel Rivals to be the game that,
Yeah, X Defiant was supposed to be the game that killed COD.
Supposed to be the game that,
but we look at X Defiant, it is no more.
People say it should have been the COD killer. I always made the comparison that X Defiant would have been to COD as what Valorant is to CSGO, an alternative.
Yeah.
Again, it's a conversation for another day. But yeah, COD hasn't had any direct competition, and this Marvel Rivals stealing all of its players, I'm hoping it's going to teach them a lesson and be like, you need to do something. You need to do something. Yep. You need to just pay attention to your game.
Yeah. COD's, I want to say probably for 10 years. I feel like that's a safe number, 10. 10 years has not had any Titanfall, Battlefield's fallen off the face of the universe. Halo's constantly up and down. Yeah. Like, COD has been the FPS shooter.
Yeah. For the past, like
for people.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like CSGO and Valorant are for the PC base.
Yeah.
But like, COD has been the console base for years, and then now it has moved over to PC as well. But like, it's got its concrete player base because it's been around so long, but it's losing that player base that has been there year after year after year to a game that's not even a direct competitor.
Yeah, it's a third-person hero shooter.
Marvel Rivals is not first person.
No,
It is not technically. I guess it's a shooter.
it's a hero shooter,
Technically,
technically.
yeah, it's a hero shooter. It's not like Army
Right, right, right.
adjacent. It is not like it does not have a campaign. It does
No,
not have zombie modes. It has team deathmatch. It has escort the payload.
right,
Like it has no like direct one-to-one comparisons you can do with it,
right.
and it's still losing its player base to
Yeah,
it.
it's suck, and I think it's players want to play a game that's people
Fun.
care about and fun, and uh, Marvel Rivals, again, being free to play, don't have to pay $70, recognizable characters, and like I said, fun game modes. It's like, yeah, of course it's gonna do well. It's in, yeah, it's just like COD needs to be better. I I like I'm saying like I might play Call of Duty in stints because I do like it. I do have fun with it. Like at its core, Black Ops 6, at its core, it's fun. The movement's fun. The maps are meh, but we have some good ones coming back. Like I think they just announced that Grind from BO2 is coming back the next season. The rank system's okay. It's just everything else, like the hackers and just the experience
terrible
is not fun.
maps.
Yeah, really bad maps.
Terrible maps.
Really bad maps. Protocol sucks. Red card sucks. Get it out. But yeah, I mean, Marvel Rivals. Like I said, Marvel Rivals is awesome. It's amazing. I'm gonna keep playing it. I have no intentions of stopping, and I really want to grind. I'm loving
I
it.
feel like that's also too something wrong with COD is they added like the jetpacks a while ago to try to change up their formula. Their formula changed. Their player base stayed the same. Like I feel like COD the last since what to say franchising basically has not done anything different to try to change themselves.
Yeah. I will.
If there's something new, cool. But
I
I'm
will.
not paying $70 for a campaign
That's true. I will say that is probably the one thing that will get me back to COD.
or zombies. But
Is
like
if the jetpacks come back. I know you don't like the jetpack games. You're not the biggest purveyor of the jetpack games.
no,
But good
I didn't
Lord.
like I liked AW. I did not like AW.
Oh,
If that
dude.
makes sense.
If the jetpacks come back, I'm
Infinite
back day
Warfare,
one.
I never played. Black
play that
Ops
one
3, I loved.
BO3 was peak. If the
But,
jetpacks
like-
come back, I will be back on COD day one.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. That's just because I like competitive, and that means Uplink can come back, and we can get rid of Control, and we can bring CTF back. Like if the jetpacks come back, competitive COD is back. That's the one thing they can do to fix it. But I digress. Marvel Rivals is awesome. I'm loving it.
I'm a component of Black Ops 2. OG Modern Warfare 2 was like peak COD.
I will agree. I also kind of grew up in the jetpack era. That's because I didn't start with Black Ops 2. I started with Black Ops 2, but I grew up mainly playing in the jetpack era, and BO3 was like my most played COD ever, and I loved it.
World at War was my first COD game.
Yeah, I was young. I was like 9 years
I was
old when
still
the original Modern Warfare
I was
came
still a
out.
baby when Black Ops 2 came out. I was I think 12 or 13 when that game came out, but that was like I may be looking at it with rose-tinted glasses because that was like when I could game the most and I had the most free time. But
Right.
like that game was the game for me.
That was, yeah.
It had multiple games. It wasn't stuck. Since 2014, AW.
Yeah.
The whole COD competitive scene, I feel, has been stuck on a two-gun meta.
Yeah.
Outside of BO4.
Yeah.
But like two-gun meta, I feel kills the game.
Yeah. And yeah.
Give me some fun.
Yeah.
Let me have a Scorpion. Let me have an MSMC. Let me
Yeah.
have a K or no, it's AN94.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. And that, and that again, that could be something for a future episode that we really talk about is just what the heck is wrong with, competitive COD and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I think, we
could do like a series.
Oh, we could do it. It could be like a whole thing. Yeah. But I mean, Marvel Rivals is awesome, and we don't just talk about these games. I stream almost every day, Monday through Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to about noon. Down up my Twitch page, linked in the description. You can check me out there. I know, Mike, you've been a little slow on the streaming, but I think
yeah,
you've got some plans.
I haven't streamed since I think basically our last podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll get back on it. Um,
Yeah.
I'll be playing again. My Twitch page will be linked in the description below, Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mike's there sometimes. Maybe we'll play a little bit and we'll crash out together. It'll be fun. But
Yeah. We can crash out on each other.
yeah. But that has been another episode of One Shot. Thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're doing this show. It'll be back every week. And yeah, please come to the streams and discuss, like, what did you like about the episode, and ask questions what you want to see in future episodes. But that's gonna be it for me. It has been your boy Sam Boom, Mike Shaky. We are out of here. Peace.
Toodaloo.